What if one of the most normal things in modern life quietly had the power to shape your financial future in ways most people never fully notice until years later? Imagine buying something today, walking away feeling satisfied, and barely thinking about the cost because the payment feels invisible, only to later realize that small purchases, emotional spending, interest charges, and growing balances slowly turned into financial pressure that became harder and harder to escape. Credit cards are often marketed as symbols of convenience, freedom, rewards, and modern financial success, but hidden beneath cashback offers, flashy promotions, and easy spending lies a reality that many people only understand after they find themselves trapped in cycles of stress, repayments, and debt that seem impossible to control. Now, to be clear, credit cards themselves are not automatically bad, and debt is not always dangerous when handled responsibly, but misunderstanding how these systems work can quietly create problems that affect mental peace, future opportunities, financial confidence, and long-term freedom. So today, we are uncovering the 10 biggest hidden truths about credit cards and debt, and trust me, by the time we reach number 1, you may start seeing money, borrowing, and financial decisions in a completely different way. Welcome back to the channel. 10. Credit cards make spending feel less real. One of the biggest hidden psychological truths about credit cards is that they often make spending feel emotionally easier because money becomes invisible in the moment, reducing the natural discomfort people sometimes feel when handing over physical cash. Imagine walking into a store and physically counting money from your wallet before making a purchase. Now compare that experience with tapping a card, approving an online payment, or quickly buying something through an app in seconds. The emotional friction disappears. And when spending feels easier, people often spend more without realizing it. This is not because people are irresponsible. It is because human psychology reacts differently when financial pain feels delayed instead of immediate. Over time, this invisible spending behavior can quietly create habits that become difficult to control. 9. Minimum payments can create false comfort. Many people feel relieved when they see the option to make a small minimum payment on a balance because it creates the feeling that everything remains manageable. Imagine owing a large amount yet only paying the smallest required amount month after month while interest quietly continues building in the background. At first, the numbers may not feel overwhelming. But over time, balances can grow or remain stuck for much longer than expected. People may begin feeling financially fine, while actually delaying progress. This is why financially disciplined individuals often focus on understanding total repayment and long-term consequences rather than only short-term comfort. Because sometimes what feels manageable today quietly becomes expensive tomorrow. 8. Debt can create emotional pressure. One truth people rarely discuss enough is that debt affects more than money. It can influence emotions, relationships, confidence, stress, and future decisions. Imagine waking up every day knowing payments are waiting, bills are growing. That emotional pressure affects mental peace. Some people begin avoiding financial conversations. Others delay opportunities or feel trapped because financial responsibilities feel overwhelming. This does not mean everyone with debt struggles emotionally. But it highlights something important. Financial stress often affects life beyond numbers. And understanding this reality can help people approach borrowing more intentionally. 7. Rewards programs can encourage overspending. Credit card rewards often sound attractive. And while these features can be helpful when spending stays controlled, they can sometimes encourage people to justify purchases they may not have made otherwise. Imagine buying things simply because earning points feels exciting, or convincing yourself an expensive purchase becomes acceptable because rewards soften the decision. The psychology becomes tricky. Because saving a small percentage means little if spending increases dramatically. Financially smart people usually understand this difference. 6. Debt is not always bad, but intent matters. One of the biggest misconceptions about debt is believing all borrowing is automatically harmful. The key difference often comes down to purpose and planning. Imagine borrowing responsibly for something carefully thought through versus repeatedly borrowing for emotional spending, lifestyle pressure, or unnecessary purchases. The first may support growth. The second often creates stress. This is why financially successful people usually think carefully before taking on financial obligations. Because borrowing becomes safer when decisions are intentional rather than impulsive. 5. Lifestyle pressure quietly increases debt. One hidden reason many people struggle financially is comparison. Imagine trying to appear financially successful while secretly depending on debt to maintain the image. That pressure becomes exhausting. Financial freedom often slows when people prioritize appearances over stability. And many financially successful individuals eventually realize something powerful. Looking wealthy and becoming financially secure are not always the same thing. 4. Interest quietly changes everything. One of the least exciting yet most important financial truths is understanding how interest changes outcomes over time. 3. Emotional spending creates hidden debt cycles. Many people assume debt problems happen only because of low income, but emotions often play a surprisingly large role. Sometimes people spend not because they truly need something, but because they want temporary comfort. This creates a cycle where spending becomes emotional coping instead of intentional decision-making. Understanding emotional triggers may be one of the smartest financial habits anyone can develop. 2. Financial education changes everything. One major difference between financially confident people and financially overwhelmed people is understanding. When people learn budgeting, responsible borrowing, spending habits, saving, planning, and financial discipline, they often make calmer decisions. Imagine understanding how debt works before financial problems appear instead of learning through painful experience later. Because financial literacy often protects future peace of mind. 1. The biggest hidden truth. Debt quietly controls freedom. Here is the biggest truth many people eventually realize. Debt affects freedom. When financial obligations grow too large, choices become smaller. Stress increases. Freedom feels limited. And flexibility grows when financial pressure becomes smaller. Comment below and let me know. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more financial psychology. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.